Thank you for staying with us. Welcome from that short break. Now it's the newspaper headlines and analysis on this particular broadcast this morning. Should we say congratulations? Should we start from that? Tinubu is about to swear in Amupitan as the INEC chairman. That seems to be a congratulatory thing to say. But we'll get all of that in the course of this particular edition of the broadcast. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. I'm not alone in the studio. I have with me Lekon Shobowale, a public affairs analyst and a journalist, joining us on set this morning. Good morning to you, Lekon.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well. Should we say congratulations first? Where do we start from?
Let's say congratulations to Professor Amupitan.
Amupitan,
And
right.
we are expecting so much from him.
Let's take a brief. There was a story yesterday that I want us to quickly speak to in few seconds. Amupitan was met with something not very funny. I think the day before yesterday, that two INEC officials going to Anambra for the elections and all of the preparations were kidnapped, about 3 of them. And that seems like a welcome on board kind of message. What do you make of that?
It's just a pointer to the fact that Amupitan should also look into the security of his officers and his staff, because of the very important national assignment they have in their hands. So it should also take time to look, into their security among other things. So another look at the security of his staff and officials.
All right, but there's so much you can do. Yes, let's get into that message or that particular story deeper. Now, electoral reform, Senate brought a story yesterday and it's today a thing to discuss. Senate pushes INEC to defend election results. In fact, another print would say that Senate proposes mandatory electronic transmission of results. Let's take all of this together to have a comprehensive thoughts of yours on this. Now, to say the Senate they are moving for INEC to now defend election results, which some would even disagree to say they've been doing some sort of thing. But anyway, now they are still proposing a mandatory electronic transmission of results. But I'll just give a background to that. I was part of the last presidential election in Benue State, and I recall that I was a presiding officer and I used the beavers. And I must tell you that there are some places in Nigeria that the network is not as good. In fact, the signal is almost like non-existent. So in some places to transmit data online will be difficult. I think one of the things we resulted into doing was to transmit offline, but offline can be manipulated. Now, there's a lot of conversations around that, but let's just give us your thought on this. What should Amupitan do right?
Well, what the Senate, what they are saying is this, that they want to repeal the 2022 Electoral Act and come up with 2025 Electoral Act. And in that Electoral Act, they are proposing that INEC should be the one to defend any electoral results. Before now, what we used to have is that in the 2022 Electoral, what we used to have is that party agents or party representatives with the legal practitioners, we go to INEC, they now start sorting out results. At some point, I remembered in 2009, 2010, during the electoral issues of Osun State, Aregbesola versus Oyinlola, then Adams Oshiomhole versus Professor Osumbo in Edo State. What they did was that they have to brought in forensic experts from UK, just to verify results. And the National Assembly is saying that no, this is wrong. From the beginning to the end of any election tribunal cases, it should be the responsibility of the INEC. I remember in 2015, 2016, during the second term of late governor of Oyo State, Abiola Jimobi, I was covering the court then. I remember the late governor of Ondo State, Akeredolu, Chief Ola Enipekun, SAN, Niya Akintola, all of them, they were the one defending, they were the defendants for the legal practitioners on the side of late former governor Abiola Jimobi. They brought in so many election results. They brought in so many documents, you know, Ali SAN, you know, was the lawyer, you know, on the side of the INEC there. Brought in so many documents, so many, just to, you know, convince the tribunal that former Governor Abiola Ajimobi won the election. What this 2025 Electoral Act is saying is that it should no longer be the responsibility of the winner or the political party from A to Z. INEC conducted the election.
It should be able to defend it.
It should be able to, it is your result. They are saying, come and defend your result. It's as if someone is telling me that I should bring someone to come and defend my first degree certificate or master's. That should not, it should be, it should be the responsibility of the school. You know, okay, you are not sure of this certificate, you just write to the school. The school will give you a confirmation of that result. It's as simple as that. So when there are issues, when there are disputes in elections, tribunals, let INEC defend the result, because INEC was the one that organized the election. It was the one that conducted the election. It was the one that announced the election. So you should be able to defend the election that you have announced to the members of the public.
Now, speak very quickly to the transmission issue. Is it possible? Are we at that stage where Nigeria can transmit results from everywhere?
We are not at that stage yet.
But can it be done?
Yes, it can be done 80%.
How do you mean?
You understand? What I mean is that, you know, there will always be an exceptional cases. You know, during my course of covering elections in Nigeria, you know, there are some places. In 2023, I was at a place, you know, with PDP governorship candidate, Jando. You know, we traveled on the sea for almost 2 hours or 3 hours. You understand? In that area, there is no way you can transmit any election online. So, in those cases, it can only be done offline. But I think, you know, like now you have been part of electoral processes. When they are talking about these beavers, when beavers failed, they used to have this registered, you know, that you can use manually, you know. So, but if you can achieve transmission of results 80%, then 20% can be for the areas where electronic transmission cannot be done. When you go deep inside of our local governments, you go deep inside Amuloko, it may be so difficult for you to transmit election online, electronically. But in such cases, there should be a provision for the offline transmission of electoral results.
So it should not be a mandatory 100% guarantee to say you must give us this.
It should not. See, let me tell you from experience, because of the mandatory transmission of election results, most of our politicians, you know, Nigerian politicians are so wise and they are so greedy, like I used to say. Some of them, in 2023, some of them hide under the fact that in some polling areas, elections were transmitted offline. And the Electoral Act 2022 said it should be transmitted electronically. So now they are claiming electoral malpractices in those areas, which should not be. You know, so this 2025 Electoral Act should not, you know, there should not be any lacuna that our politicians cannot hide under it. So it is very obvious that it cannot be done 100%. So if we can achieve that 80%, yes,
it's a good way to go.
One thing that INEC has done that, you know, that I love so much is at the polling booth, at the polling, that's the first how do I put?
Point of call.
Yes. So at the polling booth, they announce the results will be announced. So everybody knows the result already. So when you get to the local government, then you can now be doing any online or
but that's the case. Sorry, I know maybe for some, but for many of the places I visited when I was part of that process, that was the issue. So because every party was going to stand and say, okay, this is what we are counting. Everybody is seeing what we are counting. So this is Lekon, this is Shobowale, It's Shobowale 3, so everybody knows what's obtainable. But again, the transmission of result, like you mentioned, I think, like you also said, too, should not be a 100% mandatory issue. So let's get on to something else now. There's an ISWAP thread on the Punch newspaper this morning. On the front page is the big story, the big caption sitting right there. And it's saying so many scary things. Now, for one, it says Southwest and North Central states on high alert. Yeah. So governors, police tighten surveillance as Ayedatiwa, that's
Ondo State,
Ondo State, Ododo. Others urge calm amid ISWAP threat alert. ISWAP threatening Southwest and North Central. Again, we've seen the issue of terrorism, we've seen the issue of banditry, we've seen the issue of also ISWAP as well. The threat is now coming to Southwest. What do you make of this?
Well, like I've been saying, this is not the first time that they've issued this threat. And this is not the first time they've been making attempts to come into the Southwest. But the main issue, the great issue, concern is how prepared is the state government, especially the Southwest. Like I told you a few weeks ago, it doesn't happen in Oyo State. I was at Kishi in Egepa local government. I saw these people, we saw these people. They were chased out of that town by the local vigilante. How prepared, it is not about the ISWAP issuing threats. It is about, let me give you an instance. Yesterday, there was this leaked DSS report, addressed to the Ondo State government, and few members of the public, and journalists got this leaked memo. But at the end of the day, the Ondo State government refuted the statement, saying that it is not meant for members of the public. That it is, yes, that they said yes, they agree that it was just a memo, a exchange of memo between the Ondo State government and the DSS, and they are calling on the Ondo State people to be calm, and they are on top of it. See, it is important for our state government. It is not about denying. Yes, there are threats, and we are looking into it. We are taking proactive measures towards ensuring that this never happens. Yeah, so this is not okay. Now we have them in Kwara State. Kwara State is half Southwest. Kwara from Ilorin, Ogumosho to Oyo. So what are you talking about? So it is not about all this exchange of. It is only in Nigeria that you can read something like this. When you go to other, even developing nations of the world, they take proactive measures, they take proactive steps. Before you know that these people are issuing threats, the government has taken over. But in Nigeria, it will first be a statement, it will be a release, it is not important. For me, the most important thing is that these are not empty threats. When these people are saying they will. So the government should take, it is very simple, let government take steps to protect the lives of the citizens from this issue. That is just the main thing.
All right, so let's take another story of interest now. Some have said the calling out of past leaders can be a way to shame them or to taint their image or to soil their reputation. Others are saying whoever does not do what he's supposed to do should face what he's supposed to face, in a sense. Now, the story is about the former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Now, the reps are probing Jonathan's $460 million CCTV project. It was also in the news just that we took some minutes ago. Now, this is the story. Some are saying that the calling out is not really right because it's late already. Why bring this up again? It's like raising dust or beating a dead horse. There's nothing coming out of it. But others have also said, if you do the crime, you should do the time. Let's call you out for whatever you do so you can defend whatever you claim to have done. So what do you make of all of this issue? Where do you stand?
See, the day former President Goodluck Jonathan accepted that he started making moves, that he also wants to contest to be president of Nigeria, I know from that day that we surely have a problem.
Mm-hmm. You think that is coming from his decisions?
It is just very simple. That the day I saw him started moving around, consulting with David Mark and all those stuff, I know President Jonathan is a very gentleman. He shouldn't be involved in all these things. But for the fact that, is saying that they want to contest. A few weeks ago, Bayo Onanuga, let's say to the president, issues a public statement saying that they are waiting for Goodluck Jonathan to come out and contest. That most of his hidden secrets will be exposed.
So you think this is a witch hunt?
See, tell me how many of these are past presidents in Nigeria does not have so much skeleton in his cupboard? Is it my uncle Olusegun Obasanjo? Is it late President Muhammadu Buhari? Is it Goodluck Jonathan himself? Even our Oga, by the time he leaves office, all these things will be coming out. So all of them, they have all these things. But for the fact, you are talking about CCTV projects now. But because one would have expected that former President Goodluck Jonathan will just take, will be taking his deserved rest now. After serving, after God has helped him to serve Nigeria.
And he also got a Global Peace Award too.
See, it is for you to be president of Nigeria, it is a real privilege. Out of over 230 something millions of Nigerians, you emerge as a president for 6 years, you govern this country for 6 years. It is a privilege. So why are you now disturbing yourself? Why are you now worrying yourself because of what this David Mark, Aregbe, Shola, Rotimi Amechi, they are pushing you to come out? It is not as if they like you. It is for their personal greediness. And Goodluck Jonathan made a landmark record. First by calling late President Muhammadu Buhari, congratulating him, even as a sitting president, by telling Nigerians that and the politicians that no life, no blood of Nigerians worth, his ambition never worth any lives of any Nigerians. So he has done so well for himself. So he should be out of all this. So that is why all these things are coming up. Before you know it, another thing will come up. Before you know it, another thing will come up. And it will just be tarnishing his hard-earned international image. Because on a global stage, by the time this thing starts coming up, those people will be thinking that, look at the person we are even along, that he has so many. So I will just appeal to President Goodluck Jonathan to just let this issue of 2027 presidency go. Take his time. His wife has done so well. His wife said, for her, she's not thinking of going back to Aso Rock again. That she's going to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Most of the things they see from President Jonathan has been released onto her again. So I don't know why President Jonathan, because I've seen Jonathan himself moving around, meeting with people, negotiating. He doesn't need this. If I can be governor of my state, if I can be chairman of my local government for 3 years, I'm okay.
Let's say until you get there. Because there's power hunger too. You might fall in the same trap of these people.
I know we are journalists. We understand this thing better. When we are not in that position, we take good care of ourselves. So even when we are there, it is just for us to help our people, to also contribute our quota and to make records. So it is not about going there and dying there.
All right, let's not die on that issue. Now, there's another issue that might, of course, some have said is terrorism trial and all that. We will not speak, because the case is still in court, we will not speak directly to the issue in court. But there's a development I want us to really harp on a bit now. Kanu list Wike, Sanwo-Olu, Buratai among 23 witnesses. What is the fate of Kanu in this kind of listing?
Seriously, I don't really understand the kind of listing Wike, Sanwo-Olu. 23
people plus Kanu, plus Wike, Sanwo-Olu, and Buratai.
As your witness. Witness for what? See, let me tell you, even the kinsmen of Nnamdi Kanu, they are now blaming Omoyele Sowore that is already spoiling their case. Before now, the Southeast governor, with the assistance of Hope Uzodinma, governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma is very close to the president, and they have been appealing to the president. They have been talking to the president on ways, through which they can ensure the release of Nnamdi Kanu before this abnormal intervention of Omoyele Sowore into this case. Going by, okay, thank God now that Nnamdi Kanu has agreed to open his defense. A case is already in the courts. You guys, you are on the streets. Of what importance is that? You know, bringing in Sanwo-Olu, everybody understand what happened in NSAS. Is it 2021 or 2022 or thereabouts? Where Nnamdi Kanu was, we heard him giving orders, ordering his people to burn down police stations, to go to TVC, to go to the nation, to go to this, to go to burn them down, kill them. So bringing in Sanwo-Olu and Wike into this, to me, it makes no sense and it makes no meaning. You understand? You know, I don't know what he's trying to achieve. I don't know what he's trying to do, because, you know, one of the accusations levied against him is that of dissident of Lagos State, NSAS dissidents. Maybe that's why he's bringing in Sanwo-Olu. So if Sanwo-Olu will now come to court and we'll be telling the court that Nnamdi Kanu has ever been part of the NSAS crisis in Lagos State, that the court should pardon him. Seriously, I don't understand.
All right, let's look at something else that you might understand this morning. Yes. Now, the federal government has moved to reform revenue collection and pricing of services. I was stating an instance of, I did a course in the university called Extension. And one of the things we discovered from that course was that there was a time where there was a revolution in a particular developed nation of the world. And one of the things they did was they brought to fore some academic research and made it a policy. They fine-tuned it and ensured that it was viable and it would work. One of it was what they call agricultural subsidy. Now, the federal government then, in that particular country, paid agricultural subsidy. We know of few subsidy, but I'm not so sure many Nigerians know about agricultural subsidy, that you could pay something to ensure that the pricing of food items comes to the barest minimum for an average person. Because there's a saying in Yoruba that once you can tackle food, then poverty is almost at, the bare level. So anybody can still survive, can still live. Right. So this is the case now. Federal government is moving to reform revenue collection. They are even improving on some of the technological incorporations. They're having more technology into the system to ensure that some loopholes are blocked. And the pricing of services is something that is also quite important. I think they are working on. Now, I know this would, of course, be a good development, but can this be achieved? Is it achievable by this present administration?
See, it depends. It depends on the perspective we are looking at it. Since the beginning of this present government, federal government has been able to achieve, increase in its IGR, and that's why we're having that large chunk of money being shared between the local government, the state government, and the federal government, and even before now, there has been a kind of subsidy on agriculture, because I always remember that at some time, federal government, they have been giving subsidized fertilizers, they have been giving free crops, free seeds to farmers. But these things, we will still have the Nigeria factor. You don't understand. See, some people are saying that the federal government should establish price control board. Before now, we used to have price control board. That if a bag of rice is 60,000 naira, it will be 60,000 naira
everywhere
across the country. And that would have been the best thing that this federal government will have. But the president, openly said it that he never believes in price control. Because
this present administration.
Yes, President Tinubu, he has said it times to that number. That when people are talking about setting up price control board, President Tinubu said he never believes in price control. Maybe because he is like, President Tinubu is like a capitalist. So he believes in competition, market competition. That if you are saying that, okay, a bag of rice should be 60,000 naira. So if someone is willing to sell at 56,000 naira, that person will also be forced to sell at 60,000 naira to the disadvantage of the citizen. So, yes, the president, the federal government has been able to improve on its revenue generation. We can, all of us have seen that in our IGL, and in the money being shared by the three tiers of the government. So, but I think I will just look at the issue of the pricing. I will wish and I will like if the federal government, because when you are talking about subsidy in agriculture, there is no way you want to subsidize agriculture when you don't have a price control board. The beauty of it is that if you are subsidizing agriculture, and subsidizing agriculture is not all about buying, a federal government buying a bag of rice 60,000 naira, you now sell to your people at 40,000 naira. That should not be the kind of subsidy that me am expecting. Subsidy should start from the first stage of agriculture, by providing subsidized fertilizer, giving them seeds, giving them crops. You understand? Then it will have been subsidized even before the end product. So I don't know, but I believe President Tinubu can still have a change of mind. This is what we have experienced, during the times of, we read it, even if we are not around there, during the time of late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, we have been having price control. Even in Lagos State, there is one market in Lagos State. I don't know the name they call it now. The market is I think it's every 2 Sundays or every 3 Sundays, where they take, the Lagos State government, we purchase all these food items, bag of rice, 3 kg, 6 kg, they will buy and they sell to their people at a very low price, subsidized. So I think it can also be achieved in other states of the country.
All right, it's a good place to draw the curtains on this very edition. Thank you very much of the newspaper headlines. Lekon Shibowale, public affairs analyst and a journalist. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And of course, now we head from Washington to Abuja to see what's happening, how politics is interfering across geopolitical zones with Samson. Stay with us. After this break, we'll come back for the big story.